I'm interested to know what you would say to a law enforcement agent as a state citizen if you were to get pulled over in an unregistered vehicle but have the MSO. I have asked questions in the past about having an unregistered vehicle and having the answer usually surrounded by the fact that the police are uneducated and to be prepared for issues unless you can explain things correctly to them. So again, my question, how do you explain to them that you are within your rights to move freely in a vehicle that is unregistered? Is there a script that can be basically implemented in these situations? So a lot of times what people are doing, and I don't have this issue, so what you're about to get rendered is successful communications that I've seen out there between parties and law enforcement. Law enforcement generally takes a very proactive. Now, guys, got to understand, you can't be angry at the cops. I know that there are bad cops out there, but you can't be angry at them. They're being told by the FBI that there's no such thing as a sovereign citizen. They've made this term up to make fun of people that are trying to become state citizens. They're not going to tell law enforcement that the United States Code, that the Supreme Court, that everything out there has already ruled in the favor of a driver, meaning a person and their ability to operate a motor vehicle, a licensed motor vehicle, or an unregistered, unlicensed motor vehicle with an MSO. There is no law to support the forced registration of an MSO. There's no law to support a forced ticket of somebody who is driving without a license, period. So if it were me, um, and quite frankly, I'd be as nice as possible and I'd hand him a packet. I'd say, read that packet, call your drill sergeant, whoever, get him out ASAP. I'm not rolling that window down beyond that. And if they ask any questions, I just simply say, I'm not answering questions. Am I free to go? Then they're going to maybe get to the point where they're asking permission to break your window, or they're going to hand you your paperwork back and say, you may go. I've seen them both. And it's because they are power hungry. They don't know the law. They don't care about the law, and they are operating in dishonor. Then I've seen cops say, let him go, let him go, because many people presented the right paperwork with what they're saying to the law enforcement department. But I wouldn't even attempt to do that. I would have paper issued to them on the spot with the warning. And I wouldn't roll down that window and I wouldn't open your door. And I would very much operate within respect to their position, knowing that they are uneducated in this manner. They have been educated in the wrong way about, state citizens and their right to travel. But guys, I'm going to tell you, there are people out there who've made documents and they look really powerful. And it describes the code in the United States and it describes the Supreme Court rulings. And if you have, you're hereby on, if you've gone through the living in the private program right there um in your fee schedule that you've filed into the public, you hand them a copy of your docs, you hand them a copy of that fee schedule, and you say for you're on line item number 14 and for every minute you're holding me beyond this point, this is a registered document with the Department of State with and serve notice to your sheriff and to the local county board of supervisors. And for every moment I'm here, it's costing you X and you personally, because you've been warned that this is in violation of da 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 da, whatever. But you got to understand something. You need to have papers that clearly define this. Let them read it and do not get out of that vehicle. If they're going to bust that vehicle, they're going to bust it anyway. But honestly, what they do is kind of hilarious. They say, I'm going to break this window. You understand? And you go, yeah. And then they break the window. It's crazy how people are stupid. I seen one guy, they said, I'm going to break the window. He said, no, you're not. Put his head right up on that window. No, you're not. Do not break my window. You don't have my consent. You do not have my permission to break the window. And I've seen cops break the front windshield and they violate every single right and they lose later. You're not always going to win on the side of the road. Your best expectation is to try to um, skedaddle and take the ticket or take whatever they're going to give you, and be very respectful to them. Get out of there and fight it later. Um, do not take the blows. Do not take the heat. And I know a lot of people, but you have to have your documents in order. Like I have one guy, he's a whale, man. He's completely out, and he handed him the passport. He has the MSO in the truck. They couldn't take the truck. They let the wife drive the truck away. There's no registration on the truck. They arrested him for not having failure to ID. He gave them a passport. Failure to ID. He completely won his case later. It was completely done. But the bottom line is, he spent 3 days in jail. And because they lied, failure to ID, no, he ID'd. So they lied, and now it's up to him if he wanted to do a suit and all these things. And the bottom line is he spent 3 days in jail. His wife's freaking out. And I'm like, stop. He's 6'6". He's 300 pounds. He's fine. He's taking a vacation. He's good to go. He needs time off, and we were laughing about it, but that was an officer who completely violated the rights of the individual. So let me just say it. So what if your paperwork is perfect and you have the scariest looking paperwork in the world, and you have a guy with a complete and total attitude? And are you going to be able to get around that stuff? No, but if you serve them appropriately up front and you document it and you got it on video, and this is very important, guys, you need to have one of those dash cams that are videoing out that left side like I got of the window of the vehicles. They need to be able to see that you're recording them. You want to be live with them on YouTube or recording them live right there on your phone. You let them know you're recording here, you're recording here. And you hand them your paperwork, a package you're never going to get back. You don't want it back, or if you get it back, you're going to be lucky. But let them read and say, I want you to understand. And then they're going to say, well, I don't give a crap about this. I know you don't, but I want you to remember, I am not a sovereign citizen. Right there on the front gives you the title that allows me to drive without a driver's license in my wallet, and there is no jurisdiction over this vehicle. Look under the Supreme Court ruling, da 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 da, right there. And if you touch me or you touch this vehicle, I will own your ass. Look on page 4, boom, boom, boom. And for every minute I'm here, and I would just basically be very respectful and help them line item with them what you're willing to do to them if they do not let you go. But that's you driving without a license. That's you operating an MSO, and you're taking a very proactive approach, and you're not going to cave to their needs to get you out of that vehicle. You get out of that vehicle, you're toast. Um, and I would not let them break your window. I would have a sergeant come out. I'd have it all on video, and you're going to win no matter what later, because you have the right to drive without a driver's license. You have the right to drive an unregistered vehicle that is MSO'd in your pocket. There is no requirement to have a motor or have a car or a truck registered with the state. They cannot take your title away from you. It's all the threat of duress and coercion against the individuals that make people do this. And so if you are able to convey those things and show them the Supreme Court rulings up front and put enough fear into them and show them that you're not scared of them, that's really what happens, because it's the guys that are out there online on YouTube that are able to convince them that they will lose everything they have personally if they come after you or violate your rights, that they will lose everything. It's those guys that are standing up to tyranny and telling them to shut up, and they're literally, and I don't say to do this, calling them pigs. Shut up, pig. Am I free to go? Yeah, back off, pig. And I'm like, dude, why are you talking to him like that, man? I don't care how well you know your words, how well you know your stuff. Don't disrespect people like that. Work with these guys. Let's train them up over time. Let them see enough of us, that we believe what we believe, and we're operating in the law. We're not operating outside of the law. And let's file enough suits to show these guys we're being serious. And after a while, they're going to leave you alone. They're going to understand that there's enough people out there doing this that do not want and are not represented as somebody they have jurisdiction over. They have been lied to by the feds. They are continuing to be lied to by the feds. There's a few different places on our website, hisadvocates.org, where I've seen documents that help people in this regard tremendously. That coupled with paperwork, and you don't want to talk to them. I know you want to be able to say things to them, but let your paperwork speak. Your paperwork is more important than you speaking, and you don't answer questions. You make statements, and that's it. Any questions that they have, I don't answer questions. I'm sorry. And then and you ask questions, and it's very important that we remain in control and respect. Um, and there are scripts. I've seen all kinds of different things. Some of the best guys out there uh, have written scripts, and they show different things. But your remedy is not on the streets. Your remedy is in court if they're going to continue to press forward on that. Just FYI.